Over the years, I've played a lot of video games, some great and some bad. I have fond memories of the games I played, whether it be multiplayer with others or the story or gameplay immersing me into that world. In the DS and Wii era, I loved playing through anything Kirby or Mario related, as long as it didn't have a 4-person car, am I right? When I got an Xbox 360, I was introduced to different genres of games and played Assassin's Creed, FIFA, and Rayman. Hey, what can I say, I like platformers. And now with the Xbox One, PS4, and Switch era, I'm still playing platformers, but I've been obsessed with one genre in particular, and that is hack and slash games. Recently they've been some of my favorite titles, but there's one hack and slash game that I always find myself going back to, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. I wanted to do a video on this game for a while, but was struggling on getting ideas on how to structure it. At first I wanted to do this deep analysis of the game, but it was looking more like a summary you'd find on SparkNotes, except without the analysis. Then I wanted to do this haha funny video, but I forgot to include funny. After finishing a few videos, I was inspired to do a commentary on the game, and how it influenced me spending way too much time playing speedy cut shoot game. Metal Gear Rising is a game by Konami and Platinum Games that was released in 2013. Before this game, I had no idea what a metal or a gear was. Combining the two was even worse. I only knew Snake was cool, Final Smash Man, and Brawl, and I also had no idea a game could be made by a Platinum. So, with all this in mind, why did I decide to buy this game instead of any of these? Because I thought Revengeance was the coolest name. I started the game, and keep in mind, the closest I got to an action game was... So to see... It's safe to say that I was hooked. It's really fun to slash through anything and anyone in this game. I remember spending time specifically seeing what I can cut and why this cat was the most athletic cat. Now moving on to the story, I didn't really understand it that much on the first time playing, other than bad guy steal brain, go kill him. And then at the end there's a message about the strong and the weak and finding your own path. But at the time, I didn't look much into it other than, wow, bad man get cut? Cool. I've watched great analysis videos on the game, which I'll link in the description. These helped me understand some of the meaning, but some was still too much for my peanut brain. It's still not as complicated as the other Metal Gear titles, though.
This is why Icon builds a secret robot called Metal Gear Rex for a man called Liquid Snake, who is a clone of Solid Snake, created from the DNA of Big Boss, who is also known as Naked Snake, who is both of their fathers, and he has an iPad.
The boss fights are... They're so fucking good. It's what people, myself included, remember most about the game. The members of Desperado, Mistral, Monsoon, Sundowner, and affiliates Jetstream Sam and Senator Armstrong. The characters are briefly introduced throughout, but are given more characterization by the songs that play throughout their respective boss fights. And this game has a great soundtrack. It's one that I listen to this day. The songs are this quick blend of electronic and heavy metal, and they really immerse you into the quick-paced fights. The lyrics also kick in when you're on the last phase of the fight, and it's great. Back to the fights themselves. They're a great test of your skills, with each one having a challenge to overcome. Mistral being fighting multiple enemies at once, Monsoon being if you can parry or not, Sundowner being precise cuts, Sam being if you're good enough to take down Armstrong, and finally, Armstrong is a test to see if you can take the tougher difficulties, but most importantly, the toughest fight in the game, the camera angle. While the boss fights are pretty neat, every hack and slash game is held together by how good the combat system is. Metal Gear Rising doesn't have the same complexity found in Devil May Cry style switching or Bayonetta's dodge offset, but it offers its own unique system. Like other hack and slash games, you still have your standard light and heavy attacks, but Rising also has blade mode, which as I stated before is really fun, and the parry system. What I really like about blade mode is once you're in it, you can angle where you want to cut, and this along with the Zandatsu feature was always really cool to me. Zandatsu translates to cut and take, and in the game it's when you cut the enemy at a precise location, which allows Raiden to pull off this finisher move to recover health. Each enemy type has its own finisher animation, and it's really satisfying to pull off after a tough fight. Moving on, there's the parry system. By moving the right stick towards the enemy's attack, you can block it, and if timed perfectly, you can leave the enemy open to be fruit ninja'd apart in Blade mode. This really suits the fast-paced nature of Revengeance as it invites you to go towards the fight rather than away from it. And you could use the dodge move by pressing X and A at the same time, but come on, nobody sticks to the dodge button. It's all about spamming X until you win. It does become a little difficult to avoid damage when there's multiple enemies, but Platinum Games graced us with the most overpowered part of the game, Ripper mode. This is a short version of the Devil Trigger from DmC, but not DmC, that allows Raiden to rip, get it, everyone to shreds. As long as there's no stupid rocket launcher, guys, it makes the fight so much easier for the short time you have it. And if you're good enough to unlock Infinity Wig B, the game becomes so much easier and allows you to pull off some crazy wooden sword combos. Hey everybody, it's me, famous Let's Player, the Gamer Guy. Today I'm going to be showing you how to S-rank the bosses with the wooden sword. First you gotta... and that's how you do it. Like... Now, I gotta admit it, the game's not perfect. A statement 2013 me would hate to hear.
Metal Gear Rising is not good.
Stop it! As I stated before, the camera can suck, especially when trying to S-rank the game on Revengeance mode. My proudest achievement, by the way. Also, I gotta say it, this sub-menu sucks. By having the game pause every time you change weapons, it stops the non-stop action the rest of the game promotes. Because of this, I usually play with the Sai and the
Muramasa
Blade, not really changing that much. You don't really need that much variety when your strategy is... The game color-wise is pretty bland, with it mostly being gray or brown visually, besides this neat part and the boss fights, which as I said before are some of the best parts of the game. If I'm honest, missions 2 and 5 aren't really good compared to the other ones. Mission 2 on Revengeance mode is...
Cannot be! Raiden, what happened? What happened? What is going on? Answer me! Raiden!
frustrating. And despite what I said before about not minding the game's short length, I do wish some of the missions were more fleshed out. Mission 5 was done before I finished this sentence, and Mission 6 is just a boss fight. One of, if not my favorite boss fights in the game, as it's a duel to the death. But I wish it was built up more with a proper level leading up to that great fight. Also, this game would suit a boss rush mode, which the PC version did get when released a year later, but I'm still waiting for the Xbox release. Hey, come on, crazier things have happened this year, let me believe. Now, why didn't I just buy the PC port? This thing can barely run Kirby's Adventure. Revengeance doesn't stand a chance. Despite these minor complaints, Metal Gear Rising is my favorite game of all time. It's not the best game I've played, or even the best hack and slash game, but without playing this, I would have never gotten the chance to play any of these other games. Revengeance sparked my interest in Platinum Games games, and they've made some of the best games I've ever played. I mean, I bought a Wii U to play Bayonetta 2 and Wonderful 101. That's gotta count for something. Revengeance is also one of the games I really wish got a sequel. Back in 2013, I was always excited to hear any news regarding it. I remember checking to see how the game did sales-wise and what little news would come of a possible sequel. I was even one of the few people to sign out the official Konami survey. Now they have to make a sequel. It's been 7 years, and with Konami's last projects being bad, I just have to accept Revengeance unfortunately won't get a sequel, but I'm glad I was able to experience this amazing game.
Sometimes by taking a life, others can be preserved. My sword is a tool of justice.
Let me ask you, all those cyborgs you've killed up to now, maybe they weren't kids, but they were people. You ever think about them? When you're chopping them into hamburger?
It spared you the burden of all the lives you've taken. Absolved you of guilt when you enjoyed it. That is, until the illusion was broken.
I told myself this was about justice, about protecting the weak. But I was wrong. I guess I needed something to keep the Ripper in check when I was knee-deep in bodies.
What are you saying?
I'm saying Jack is back.
Will you feel the desire when always struggling with the truth of the life that might have been? But no matter how jagged your path is, you'll always come back to the road. When the dust of the battle settles, the war still rages within.
kindred spirits. You and I.
Text-to-speech.
What? The soundtrack's back on Spotify? Metal Gear Rising 2 2021, you heard it here first!